Hello, Uranium friends. We are back with episode 7 of Uranium Talk, talking all things uranium. I am Jungle Funk from the Chart Guys, joined here by Chris. And you know what? We got a very busy day, so we'll just skip right past the pleasantries. Hi,
Oh,
Chris.
well, hey Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, we don't have time for pleasantries
I
today.
see. I
Let's
see.
get right on into it. We certainly had a crazy week in the markets, as everybody knows. We knew to expect volatility with CPI and FOMC back to back, but boy, did the market follow through with that expectation in a big way. And we'll look at the chart here. We got a big old move up on the initial CPI numbers, and then bears controlled the rest of the week. And when we zoom on out here on the monthly chart, as we were talking last week, that we have to be cautious of this monthly lower high compared to 4375 here on ES, and it's looking like that could be shaping up. So as many uranium names near support, their backs are kind of against the wall, because if S&P 500 bears see more follow through on this consolidation, it's going to be tough for uranium to swim against that current. So we'll know if the S&P 500 bears mean business if they can form a daily lower high and then lower low after the next bounce, and we'll just keep our eyes peeled for that. The one hope for, not the one hope, that's perhaps a bit dramatic, but this URA SPY ratio chart that we talk about every week, that we've been watching closely, uranium bulls want to see this monthly higher low shape up. And if they are to hold support while the S&P 500 continues down, it will be because this ratio chart sees a move on up. So we'll zoom into the 2-day time frame here. We've got this 2-day 12 EMA acting as resistance, and if bulls can get up and over that, then that will be step one to shaping up this monthly higher low. So when we zoom in once further, we can see we had nice relative strength in the uranium space on Friday. So maybe a little clue there that uranium could be gaining a little bit of mojo, but it's going to be all about these monthly supports on pretty much every name. So that's what I'm watching most closely in terms of the bigger picture there. So now that that's out of the way, Chris has got a load of news updates across the sector, and let's just get into it. What do you got, Chris?
Yeah, man. We've had some fairly bullish fundamental news this week. So, for example, India, like they've announced that they're going to have 21 new reactors built and online by 2031, right? So it's more supply being needed, right? So bullish fundamental news. Canada has come up with this $4 billion legislative process that they're trying to push through that's going to be may very well be beneficial to uranium miners, but they have a minerals and mining. Basically, the bottom line is they want to get things going quicker. So maybe they're going to try to slow down the regulatory hurdles that it takes to get into mining. What else did I there was some stuff about fusion, and the relative bear case for uranium is that fusion becomes a viable solution. So if they eventually figure out fusion, uranium may no longer be in a picture, but everything we've read and that I've seen, it says that it's not commercially viable and won't be for quite some time. So, but we will keep an eye on fusion as a theme going forward, maybe in the next 2 decades. Who knows? But for right
Yeah,
now, I don't think it affects us. Go ahead, Joe.
yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's not even really that it's not commercially viable at this point. It's not even like individually viable. Like the resources that went into getting that like little micro reaction, while it's a huge advancement for humanity potentially, this is just like the first little nugget of this journey. So we'll have to see if it's something that even really comes into play like in my lifetime.
Bottom
So
line, shouldn't really have an effect on the uranium thesis at the moment. So some other things. CCJ, Westinghouse, their arm that was they bought into a while back. They just got some funding from the United Kingdom, and they're trying to ease the supply bottleneck on enriched uranium. So, moving forward, all these things take time, but moving forward, again, bullish for CCJ, bullish for uranium, bullish for the nuclear space. Bullish fundamentals, but not necessarily showing in the price action. Would you agree, Joe?
Yeah, I'd certainly agree, and that's it brings up a good point where you can kind of, like, obviously we let the technicals guide the movement and our trades and whatnot, but you can kind of get like a under the hood understanding of what kind of environment the market is in based on how the charts react to bullish or bearish news. And if you're getting bullish news and the charts are still going down, that really is indicative of a pretty bearish sentiment in the sector for the time being. So that can obviously change on a dime, but for
Yeah, I
now,
mean, this if we were in a bullish environment in the sector, these types of news things coming out, they would be pushing these charts in a completely different direction than they're going right now, right? So,
yeah, yeah,
SMR. So there's been several announcements with small modular reactors this week. So they received some funding for some clean hydrogen research. That's the hope with these small modular reactors is that they're going to be able to start really making the hydrogen space go. And again, it's probably a long way off. Just something that we're pointing out because it did come out this week. Shell also announced that they're going to be using small modular reactors for hydrogen production as well. And Dow, the chemical company, announced that they're going to use small modular reactors to power and heat some of their facilities on the United States Gulf Coast. So again, really good bullish news. But if you look at SMR's chart, it just kind of had a breakdown. I mean, do you have that chart up right now, Joe?
yeah. I've got it up here, so we can see that again, another case of bullish news, not really doing much for the charts in a bullish sense. And this was another tightening range on the daily here, broke bear, big time follow through. And now we're pretty much just looking at these all-time lows down here, 887. So bulls certainly have levels, aggressive bulls have levels to be playing off of on most charts, but we've got to respect these prevailing downtrends, and a pretty big volume there on that move down on SMR. So we'll have to
Yes.
see.
So just remember, SMR was a SPAC, and the nature of SPACs is that you get to buy in at $10, and at the beginning of that chart, you'll see that it's just leveled off at $10. That's their SPAC offering price. Then we see the run up, and then we see the unlocks start to hit, and probably people started selling off on that. So you're able now to get in a little bit below SPAC entry prices if you want, so
Yeah.
it's something to see. But like you said, there is some clear levels that we can use as support to be playing off of if we want.
And just a note about technical analysis here, and we were covering this move up pretty closely in the room, and we knew we were extended. We knew monthly consolidation wouldn't be surprising when it came. We didn't know it was going to come down this far, certainly. But when we saw this weekly higher low, lower high, and then lower low, we were like, okay, we got to watch out for SMR to come down. And that's just a good example there of how you can utilize these, just a little knowledge of trends into making sure that you're at least not positioned against the trend. So good example here of a solid signal up at the highs, and now we'll just go from this support break, 25% down. So that's all I got there. What else you got, Chris?
UEC.
Let's get
There
that
was
chart up.
some unusual volume there on Friday, and it struck me as a little unusual. Because as you'll be able to see on the chart, and you'll talk about, Joe, but it's double the amount of volume that they normally have daily, and they've got earnings on Monday. So to me, it was a little unusual.
Yeah, it's certainly high volume there, and our our 20-day average volume is like 6 or 7 million down in here, and then let's get our exact number of shares traded here on Friday: 42.213 million shares. So that is without a doubt a ton of shares. But something to note when we zoom in, uh, a good majority of it, or I guess we can say just a bit under half, we'll turn that back on, 20.717 million of it came in after hours in the form of some type of clearing trade, whether it be an MOC or something else. So who knows what that is, but definitely a lot of money transacted there right at the end of the day.
Little bit of an anomaly in the space, but I looked at the URA chart and there was an uptick in volume there. Most of the names actually in the space had a little bit of an uptick in volume, but nothing compared to UEC.
Yeah, UEC was definitely the king of volume on Friday, and we are coming down into key support down here. We were watching this little intermediate level and this tighter range, and that has broken. That was the 318, and now it's all about 292. And if 292 breaks, we would have a monthly downtrend confirmed on UEC. So at the moment, we're still in a monthly uptrend because this technically wasn't a monthly high or low, because we still had a lower high every monthly candle pattern after this bounce up here. So all eyes on 292 as we look to see, can uranium bulls defend their supports across the board?
Yeah, and on to the next thing. Now, we've been following and talking about the uranium strategic reserve that the United States government has set up funding for. Well, this week, two companies got a piece of that. So Peninsula Energy is one of them, and Energy Fuels, UUUU, is another one. So there's speculation out there that they're contracted. Some people in the uranium twit world, I guess, were speculating that it's about $60 a pound is what it resolved at. So we know that spot is right around like 48, $49 per pound. So they contracted for a little bit higher up. So good sign, very bullish, right? How did the charts react?
Not that bullish.
Right.
So we got Penn as part of our monthly downtrend crew, and we're at fresh lows. We got bulls trying to defend 11.5 cents, but a lot of work to do there to get that defense a little more established. And we've just got a weekly downtrend at this point. So unless Penn gets up and over 18.5 cents, nothing really changes there. And this is the AXS listing that we're looking at. If you want to be trading it in the US, that would be PENMF is your OTC ticker for that. But PEN has more volume, so that's the one you want to be watching for your technical signals there. And we'll pop into UUUU, look at the daily, and actually going to condense it a bit more further down to the 2-day time frame. We've just got a steady 2-day downtrend here. So unless we get up and over 647, nothing really changes there. And we got to be looking though, because when we zoom out a bit further, we have this monthly tightening range. So monthly support is down at 539. And as much as people naturally want to get bearish at support and bullish at resistance, as traders, we need to really counter that. And the time to look for positions is near support. It can be good, especially in these market environments, to have some type of confirmation that that support is holding. And if you were looking for that confirmation, that would be a 2-day uptrend confirming. And now we've just got a steady 2-day downtrend. So we'll see. All eyes on that 539. And if that's lost, we'll be looking down to 469.
Yeah, and with those contracts, URG also announced this week that they signed a long-term contract for pounds as well. Let me just see if I have that here. I forget the actual number of pounds. It wasn't anything crazy, but it's good to see for our bullish thesis. Just what we think is supposed to be playing out is right. Long-term contracting coming in. So they haven't disclosed anything yet either. But again, URG, UUU, and Peninsula have all signed contracts for uranium to be delivered at a future date.
Right on. Taking a look at the URG chart here, just another tightening range. So really nothing's changing until this tightening range breaks. We've got our first support will be 103, but the key support is down at 95 cents. And first resistance is going to be 144 with key resistance at 150. So we can probably look at the 2-week time frame to give it a little more form, and you can just see this equilibrium. So because of the size of this bounce here, bulls are looking for a higher low compared to 103. And if they want to shape it up, they're going to need to get over this daily 12 EMA resistance. So got a daily downtrend, and anything under 122 would be another daily lower high. That's a little double top there. So if we get over 122, we can say that another higher low in this broader tightening range is looking to shape on up. And if not, if we break this bear, that's another win for the bears.
That's all I got. I guess one more little surprise thing on you, by the way, which I forgot to. It's just a quickie. You don't even need to chart it really, truthfully. Because Prom had a little bit of a C-suite shakeup this week, and it bears just watching because they're a big player in the space. So it's never good when they get rid of the CCO and the CFO. It's a state-run company. Russia's involved in certain ways. We don't really know. It's very opaque, but good to keep an eye on it because, again, we'll always talk about Kazatomprom because it is one of the largest holdings in both of the ETFs.
All right, yeah, definitely something good to keep eyes on.
But that's all I got, Joe. On my end for the news of the week.
Right on. Well, that was a good load of news. I guess we'll wrap up here. Just to touch on the cap chart, nothing changing there. We're still just in that tightening range. So
yep.
Even with the shakeup, there was nothing notably bullish or bearish on that chart. And as far as other things to touch on, let's take a quick look at U.UN. We'll start zoomed out here on the monthly.
Yeah, while you talk about U.UN real quick, spot price isn't moving. It's basically hovering in the 47, 48, 49.50 range. Nothing going on there.
All right. Yeah, bulls will take it. Certainly don't want to see that collapse.
No, big red flag if we see that breakdown.
Yeah, and we'll actually, we can take a look at that UX1 futures chart after this real quick though. Yeah, U.UN, we knew we were looking for a monthly lower high because of this move down here, breaking monthly higher low support. But then because of this strong move up on the monthly, retracing over half of the move down, we know that a monthly higher low remains the most likely scenario here. So is it starting to shape up? I don't know. We don't know yet, but we do know how we'll know when it's starting to shape up, and that's this nice 2-day downtrend. So we had the double top, bears brought it to new lows, but ultimately not a lot of follow through and not a ton of bearish action over the last week. So we have a fresh 2-day lower high set at 1513. And if that breaks, that would be a 2-day uptrend for the first time since our top up here. And that would be the first sign that a monthly higher low is shaping up. So I know sentiment is down in the sector between continued downside in our monthly downtrend gang and then just like getting put to sleep in our tightening range crew. But, just got to keep eyes on these things because there's still opportunity afoot. There's still plenty of volatility in the sector. And we'll be scouting this U.UN monthly higher low.
Yeah, we're here every week, and we're going to go over the sector, whether it's boring, whether it's bearish, whether it's bullish. That's what we're going to do. Just a note on the 2-day time frame for our viewers. It's good to use that. I know a lot of people don't use it, but it does clean up a lot of the wickiness and the volatility. So it does end up being a clear chart. So maybe you might want to start taking a look at that 2-day chart and maybe put it into your tool belt.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you talk about more out of the ordinary timeframes, people are like, well, why the heck are you looking at that? But really, the whole reason we break charts up into different timeframes is to seek clarity. And if you don't have clarity on a daily time frame, oftentimes when you zoom out to the 2-day, you can actually get that clarity and put a trend to it and give yourself if-then statements of, if we're below this level, then bears remain in control. So if you look up at the top of my chart here, I've got a lot of wonky time frames: the 3-hour, the 2-hour, the 45-minute, 30-minute. I don't use them often. I'm primarily sticking with the pretty normal, stable in terms of time frames. But once in a while, you can find the clarity you're looking for on those time frames. So to touch in real quick here on the UX futures chart, we're still holding this monthly 12 EMA, and we know that that is the guide here. And if we lose that, that would be a bit troubling. And we would have to lose 45.85, the low of this candle, this little double bottom down here, for a loss of this monthly 12 EMA to be believable. So we're sitting right on it. See if we can get a bounce off it or not. But yeah, that's all I've got this week, Chris. That's all you've got?
I've got a lot, but it's enough for
We'll
us
have
now.
to save it for next week then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, then, we'll just cap it off here. Over and out.
Over and out.
Have a great week of trading, everybody. We'll catch you next week.